So I hope my screen is visible and I am audible to everyone. Can someone unmute and please tell me whether I
Yes,
am
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Pallavanu Prakash. I am professor and research group head in CSC department, KL University. So today I will be discussing some advanced concepts in deep learning. So like in schedule, Madam has mentioned LSTM and GRU. So I will be discussing some basics in deep learning very quickly. I will not discuss more in detail. And then I will be discussing about what is the difference between CNN, RNN. Okay, what is RNN? What is the difference between RNN and LSTM? What is the GRU? That also I will be discussing. And some advanced research concepts also I will be discussing today. And I will show you some important websites where you can do and you can find some important research concepts in deep learning. Okay, right. So let us go. So these are the contents which I have highlighted, like some basic introduction to RNN, LSTM, GRU, autoencoder, some basic applications I will show you, and differences between all of these I will discuss, and applications, some applications, basic applications which they are using in the present day scenario, and research prospects, like how latest scenario, how research is happening, that we will see. So as you know, maybe I think 1 week already completed in this FDP, and you would have already seen some basics of deep learning. Almost the midway you would have crossed. So you know that artificial intelligence is the major subject that we discuss. So as per the hierarchy, artificial intelligence is the boss, and machine learning is its subset, and deep learning is a subset of machine learning, we generally say. So what generally is the main difference between AI, ML and DL is artificial intelligence. Generally, these are the computers making decisions with logic, we generally say in AI. Whereas in machine learning, computers making decisions without being explicitly programmed. That is, machines can think by themselves. That is why we say machine learning. So our perspective, our main target is machine should think by itself. So we should not program machine how to do. That is what machine learning does. Whereas in deep learning, computers making decisions where decision criteria do not have to be defined or guided. Okay, like some like feature extraction. Generally feature extraction is a major parameter we observe in machine learning, where deep learning we don't actually write some code for doing feature extraction, because feature extraction is inbuilt. So that difficulty is overcome in deep learning. I will show you also an example for clear example, seeing that you will understand what is the main difference between machine learning and deep learning. Okay, so this is a simple slide which will show you exactly what is happening in machine learning. So in AI, you can see these are the common applications that you are seeing in even Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Twitter. They are using all these. So our AI generally, why we use this to ability to sense, reason, engage, and learn. So these are the applications generally we commonly see: voice recognition, natural language processing, computer vision. A lot of research is happening in Google and Microsoft also. Even IBM is working a lot on this natural language processing, cognitive computing. So robotics and motion, planning and optimization, knowledge capture. Okay, so and these are the some of the standard machine learning algorithms which you will come across even when you are processing deep learning, advanced deep learning. You need to learn some basics of supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning as well. Okay, so and you will also come across some uh, regression and decision trees. Okay, and these are the typical methods that we apply so that the ability to reason. Okay, right. So the ability to learn, we will be applying these three algorithms: supervised, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. The ability to reason, we will be studying about regression and decision trees. Okay, and the physical enablement, we generally go across using a lot of various platforms, UX, APIs, and SaaS like that. Okay, this is a basic slide which will show you like why we use AI, ML, and this is a very important slide which will show you when we are processing some machine learning algorithms, so which technique we need to take it for a particular application. See, you have clustering here, you have classification here, you have regression here, and you have here dimension reduction. So just a quickly, I will explain this one. It's a very important slide actually. I'm not going out of the box. Yeah, so if you see here, you'll start around here, okay, and dimension reduction is there. So if you find like dimension reduction is there, yes, it is there, then you will go for topic modeling. In topic modeling, you will check whether probabilistic or principal component analysis. Okay, so if probabilistic is there, then again, what algorithm you need to apply? Okay, so LDA, latent Dirichlet analysis, you will apply. So suppose if probabilistic is not there, then we will apply singular value decomposition. This is a very important slide because we generally sometimes in deep learning, when you're using, you will in machine learning, sometimes you will find like you may get a confusion like which algorithm to use at what time. So everything is explained in a single slide. And see, principal component analysis is a very important parameter you would have come across. So this we will be using in if topic modeling. In topic modeling, if it is not probabilistic, then we'll go for principal component analysis. So suppose if it is not dimension reduction, then what you need to check for the responses. If there are no responses, you have to go for clustering. So in clustering again, you have various types. Hierarchical clustering, if you have hierarchical clustering algorithms, you will apply. If there are no hierarchical clustering algorithms, then you need to specify the value of k. So if k is there, then you go and check for whether categorical variables are there or not. If categorical variables are there available, then you will apply k modes. If not available, then you go for k-means clustering algorithm. Or if it is not k-means clustering algorithm, if you prefer probability, you will go for applying Gaussian mixture model. Okay, suppose here we are here and there are no categorical variables, then you need to apply DB-scan algorithm. So see how many type of computer science algorithms that you have studied, okay, are applicable here in machine learning. Okay, in a single cheat sheet it is given. Suppose you have responses here. In responses, you have to predict whether it is numeric or not numeric. If it is numeric, you have to apply for supervised learning regression. If it is not a numeric value, then you will go for classification. So in this, you will apply, you will check for speed or accuracy. So accuracy, if you want to calculate, you will apply either random forest, neural network, or gradient boosting tree algorithms. If you are going to measure using speed, then you will apply decision tree or linear regression algorithm. So this is supervised learning, where you give a lot of inputs to the machine to work. Okay, yeah, it is unsupervised learning you have already done. And in supervised learning, if it is classification, here you check again for speed or accuracy. And this almost, if you can see, almost the same algorithms are given here. Only thing is kernel support vector machine you will be studying here. Okay, and if it is speed, is it explainable or not explainable? You will be checking. If it is explainable, then you will go for decision tree or logistic regression. If data is too large, then we will go for naive-based classification. If it is data is small, you will apply either linear SVM or naive-based. So this is a basic. This slide gives you basic idea how actually research is done in machine learning. Okay, all right. I want to just give a glimpse of what are the important algorithms that you generally process in machine learning. How and when we need to choose which particular algorithm. This is a very interesting slide. That's why I wanted to show you this one today. Okay, this is a simple example where you can see where we are using deep learning and machine learning in the present day scenario. So to access data, we use a lot of sensors, files, database, images, video, sound, vibration, we'll be using here for simulation. And to analyze data, we go for data exploration, various pre-processing techniques, domain-specific algorithms, wherein mainly we apply for signal processing. Okay, so deep learning and machine learning algorithms, generally they use some statistical methods also, and we develop some AI models, algorithm development, modeling and simulation. And whereas in deploy case, so we go for learning algorithms deployed by inference. So we'll be using a lot of desktop apps, enterprise systems, embedded devices. Okay, and you can see this is the main important difference. You would have seen, maybe some other faculty already would have told you, this is a very important image. Generally, many people use for differentiating machine learning and deep learning. So you can see here, after we get an input, so we generally discuss a lot of feature extraction in machine learning. So after the availability of feature extraction, then we go for classification and we judge the output here. Okay, but the advantage of using deep learning is we need not put our effort in feature extraction. Feature extraction and classification are inbuilt here. So that work will get reduced for the programmer or the researcher. Okay, he need not worry about the feature extraction. The program is inbuilt. The feature extraction does there. What are the features of a car? We need not worry that much. It will be there available inside. We have to worry only about the classification algorithms, and you can judge whether the car is there as output or not. So this important difference you should be remembering, and even to your students you should tell that in machine learning we need to put an effort for feature extraction. In deep learning we need not put that effort for feature extraction. This is the main important difference between machine learning and deep learning. And these are some of the applications which you come across in various deep learning algorithms. These are the common applications that Microsoft, IBM, Google, everyone is working on. Image recognition, natural language processing, drug discovery and healthcare applications, robotics, self-driving cars, speech recognition, portfolio management, and prediction of stock price movements. These are the applications which are, even if you use LSTM, RNN, you have CNN algorithms, various autoencoder, everything you are using mainly applications. These are the applications that we are stressing on. And if you see, these three are the various forms of inputs that we generally process. Either it can be an image, or it will be an audio, or it will be a text. Complete research is focused on these three. So if it is an image, so check for the vision features and detect it. For sound, like speech processing, we will be concentrating on. Okay, audio features you will get it from the input audio, and the speaker ID we have to find out. A text, you know that a lot of parsing happens, syntacting. Okay, so syntax tree, parse tree, a lot of the stuff we will be studying. Okay, these are text features, and web search will be coming as output. The same, you can show another important variation. As I said, the text processing will happen like this. See, a parser will be there. You will have a named entity. Okay, and you follow some stemming algorithms here. Okay, right. And see, this is one other variation, like a deep neural network. How an input is considered and how many hidden layers will be available. You will have interconnected layers. Okay, so edges will be there. Okay, after pre-processing you will get these edges, and combination of edges will be here, and object models will be here. So final output, you will be identifying this image. Okay, this is how actually deep neural network is working. Okay, so same like an example, another example I've given it for your understanding. An input is considered, generally it is in the form of pixels. So how we detect in the form of edges, and another hidden layer we go for combination of edges, and deeper layer we detect a lot of faces here. Okay, this is how generally face detection happens in deep learning. Okay, so before entering into RNN and LSTM or GRU, we should precisely know what is exactly convolution neural networks is. Okay, so convolution neural networks generally are designed to process data through multiple layers of arrays. Okay, so that you should remember. And this type of neural networks is generally used mainly in recognition, image recognition, face recognition applications. Present day scenario, Samsung mobiles are working on that. Okay, right. So it's very important application, face recognition. Nowadays, even for faculty, biometric attendance also they are using for face recognition. And the latest application, like for voting elections also, they are planning to use face recognition based devices. Okay, so we have a lot of applications in deep learning as well, in CNN also. And it is observed that CNN performs better than RNN. But present day research, a lot of applications are coming out in RNN also. We'll see how things are happening there. So that's why the primary difference between CNN and any other neural network is, in generally, CNN takes two-dimensional array as input and operate directly on the images rather than focusing on feature extraction. Whereas all other neural networks, they generally work mainly on feature extraction. Okay, so that's the main difference that you will observe in CNN and other neural networks. Okay, there is you don't have feedback here in CNN, but that feedback you will be seeing in RNN. I will show you the next slides. The main dominance of CNN includes solutions for problems of recognition. So as I told you earlier, image recognition, face recognition will be using. Okay, so that's why I see top companies like Google and Facebook also, they're investing a lot of money, millions of dollars in research for developing recognition-based products. This is an important link that will give you even like how to write coding for convolution neural networks using TensorFlow. Okay, I will share you this PPT. You can work out. I will show you also what different types of coding is given in TensorFlow. Okay, right. After I complete my slides, I will show you a lot of the coding part where you can basically do hands-on training in CNN. You can do hands-on training in RNN. You can learn all the advanced neural network concepts also in deep learning. Okay, I will also show you some projects also. So once that CNN is learned, some basic. What is this RNN then? What is the difference between CNN and RNN we see? So RNN is a deep learning oriented algorithm which follows a sequential approach. Okay, this is the main difference that you have to understand. Where sequential approach is required in research, generally people without any hesitation in deep learning, they go for RNN approach. Okay, because a lot of applications are there in sequence. Suppose for DNA sequencing you are doing research, you want to find motif finding. Okay, motif finding algorithms are there. So if you want to find motif in DNA sequencing, or if you are working in like a COVID-19 data sets, you want to find some sequencing in that, you can try for RNN. Okay, so in neural networks, we always assume each input and output will be independent of all other layers. But these recurrent neural networks are generally recurrent. Why? Because they perform mathematical computations in a sequence. Okay, so if you want, what is exactly RNN is, what are the different steps that are followed? I have given here 7 important steps. First one is you have to input a specific example from data set. Okay, one small example you take from a data set. Next, step 2, network will take that example and compute some calculations using randomly initialized variables. Okay, so the neural network that you are training, that will take that example and it will perform some calculations based upon some random initialized variables, and a predicted result will be obtained. That predicted result and the actual result we need to compare. So definitely there will be an error. That is in step 4. We will compare this predicted result and actual result. Then we will get an error. Now at step 5, to trace that error, it is propagated again to the same path where variables are also existing. Again, it is feed forward back. So feedback, like feedback, you will feedback it to again to the same network through the same path. Okay, this process continues until we obtain a desired result. That is why it is given in step 6. Steps 1 to 5 are repeated continuously until we are confident that variables declared to get the output are defined properly. A systematic prediction is made by applying these variables to get unseen input. Okay, so this is basic recurrent neural networks, how things happen here. Okay, you can see this is an important slide where you will get differences between CNN and RNN. So you can see here, CNN is mainly used for suitable for spatial data like such as images. RNN is suitable for temporal data, also called sequential data. Okay, so this is a very important point to be remembered. So CNN is considered to be more powerful than RNN. RNN includes less feature compatibility when compared to CNN. Yeah. Okay. So, and another important difference is This network takes fixed size inputs and generates fixed size outputs, whereas RNN can be arbitrary. Okay, so it is not necessary that RNN need to deal with fixed inputs and fixed outputs. And CNN is a type of feed-forward artificial neural network with variations of multi-layer perceptrons. Okay, whereas RNN, unlike feed-forward neural networks, it can use the internal memory to process arbitrary sequence of, because if, for example, I told you DNA sequencing. DNA sequencing, you cannot DNA sequencing. You cannot say that uniform sequencing need to be followed or fixed sequencing need to be followed. It is arbitrary. Okay, so that's why RNN is best suitable for DNA research. Okay, CNNs use connectivity pattern between neurons, and you can see here very important on the illustration given. Like this is inspired by organization of animal visual cortex, whose individual neurons are arranged in such a way that they respond to overlapping regions, telling the visual field. Whereas in RNN, it uses time series information. That is, see if one person has spoken earlier and the one other person is speaking now, there is a connection between earlier spoken person and the present person speaking. So earlier input and the present input varies. So that's why you say that time series information, see what a user spoke last will impact what he or she will speak next. So that is very important. That's why in RNN, the previous input and the previous output also is very important. CNNs generally are ideal for images and video processing. People who are doing research, so in deep learning, they should be remembering this main difference. For text and speech processing, text and speech based research, RNN best suitable. For image and video processing, CNN is best preferred. This is an important slide which will show you like what are the main differences between CNN and RNN. Okay, so the main difference between RNN and LSTM. What is RNN? What is LSTM? If you want to see, you can see RNN already we have discussed. Like it is a form of neural networks that feed outputs back to the inputs during operation. Whereas LSTM is a form of RNN. It fixes the vanishing gradient problem of original RNN. This is the main important difference you should remember. Okay, so it is a moderated form of RNN, but where this vanishing gradient problem is the problem what we observed in RNN, which was sorted out in LSTM. So, and main application is sequence to sequence model. Okay, so you can find some more important material available when using TensorFlow for LSTM. You can see in this particular example. Okay, so this is the basic RNN architecture. You can say simple architecture like how actually RNN we discuss generally. So this is the input that you give at a time t, and this is the output you get it. H is the output you can see, and A is the neural network that we built and trained. And you can see this loop goes in. Okay, this loop goes in until the desired accurate result is obtained. Okay, so this is how a simple RNN looks like. And the next slides I will show you how complex LSTM and GRU you can observe. Based on the diagram itself, you can understand how RNN is different from LSTM and how RNN is different from GRU. Okay. This is one of the important link where you will find a lot of stuff. Okay, so I have explained this RNN already earlier, so I will not stretch more on RNN. LSTM you have to see. So LSTM networks are typically a type of recurrent neural network capable of learning order dependence in sequence prediction problems. So as I told you earlier that sequence to sequence modeling, sequence to sequence processing, RNN is used, but in normal RNN there are some difficulties are there. So we generally go for long short-term memory. Okay, so LSTM is preferably used for that sequence prediction problems. And this is a behavior required in complex problem domains like machine translation, speech recognition, as I told you earlier. Okay, also LSTMs are generally complex, and that's why it is gaining a lot of importance. So even bidirectional LSTM is also used nowadays. Okay, I will show you what is bidirectional LSTM also. Okay, and it can be hard to get your hands around. It is not so easy. It's not like everyone's cup of tea to process LSTM and autoencoder concepts. It requires a lot of coding abilities. So if you are good in TensorFlow then and Python programming, then you can work very easily with LSTM and autoencoder concepts. Okay. Let's see, you can see this is the simple LSTM architecture, how LSTM network architecture looks like. See, you are having input here and the outputs, and these are the hidden layers, where initial hidden layers you will be having like maximum nodes like 256. At the second part of the hidden layer, you will have half of these, almost like 128 nodes will be there. Okay, so you can see this is the internal structure, how it looks like. An input gate will be there. So a memory cell will be there. If a forget gate will be there, which will give the signal controls from memory cell. It will be like a loop. It will go on until the desired output you will achieve here. Okay, this is a very important internal structure for LSTM. Okay, and see here, this is the total LSTM network, how it looks like. Okay, you can see input X at a time T. So I have given all the explanation also here. So what is sigma is the sigmoid layer. You have tan H layer. You have bias B. Okay, and what is X here is the scaling information parameter. Okay, and this is the adding information parameter. So scaling information parameter you are having here, here, and here. Okay, so CT minus 1 is the memory from LSTM unit, last memory unit what you get it. Okay, and you have XT is the input and HT is the output. Okay, you can see all these things are not available in RNN. Okay, RNN, what you observed is all these things is nothing but only A. You have only A as the neural network. You have input and output, that's all. Whereas here, see, you have all these non-linearities are there. What are the vector operations that you're performing, everything is available here. And HT minus 1 is the output of last LSTM unit. So CT minus 1 is the memory from the last LSTM unit. HT minus 1 is the output of last LSTM unit. And this is the next hidden state. Okay, right? So next cell state is given. So this is a basic structure of LSTM network that we generally study. Okay, right? And some small differences you want to find out between GRU and LSTM. So you can see here different cells are common here, epochs are common here, but parameters vary. Parameters are more in LSTM and parameters are considerably small in GRU. And accuracy, you can see better accuracy we observe in GRU, and training time is less in GRU compared to LSTM. Okay, these parameters may look easy, simple for you, which you feel like to ignore, but these parameters are very important in research. When you are doing advanced research, you should remember at what particular application, which one we need to apply. Okay, and you can see this is the difference between LSTM and GRU. The diagram itself shows clearly sigmoid functions are more in LSTM and less in GRU. Okay, you have the tan H functions also are more in LSTM and less in GRU. Okay, so this is the basic difference between LSTM and GRU. So GRU is optimized network, where LSTM is more complex. Okay, and forget gate you are having here. Okay, you have only a reset gate here. Okay, right. This is a basic difference between LSTM and GRU. Okay, right. So then you can see this is another variation, like how on a single slide can we show like what are the main differences between RNN, LSTM, and GRU. Okay, so RNN you can see here simple, only one tan H function is applied here. Okay, and vector concatenation operator is applied here. Whereas so complex LSTM structure looks. That's why I said like LSTM programming is not like everyone's cup of coffee. I said that's why I said because it requires a lot of effort for that. Okay, so you can see here more sigmoid functions are applied here, and more hyperbolic tangent functions are applied. Whereas here you compared to RNN we use more here, but compared to LSTM we use less. Okay, right? So this is a typical structure or architecture, internal architecture of RNN, LSTM, and GRN. And application, what is the main important application is we generally use for object detection or image captioning. You can see how things happen here. So an image is given as input to CNN. So what are the features that are observed? What are the region features are available? Region codes, how they are given? Okay, and LSTM feed forward is given. Okay, until we get the desired output. How things happen inside is given in the bottom, like how it passes through the convolution layer, how we get the desired output. This is simple application which shows like how object detection is done in RNA. And one researcher has given some small comparison, like what are the different applications wherein we generally use BP algorithm, CNN, RNN, and GAN. Okay, GAN is another another advanced algorithm we use in deep learning, is gaining a lot of prominence. You would have heard of DCGAN also, right? And you have AlexNet and LENet and VGGNet in CNN. Your RBF and GRN we use in BP algorithm. LSTM is the another variation we use in RNN. In LSTM, we go for also bidirectional LSTM in future. Okay, and these are the applications that are observed here: the data fitting, pattern recognition, classification algorithm. Whereas image processing, speech processing, natural language processing are used mainly in CNN. Time series analysis, emotion recognition, okay, Twitter data analysis, and NLP are used using RNN algorithms. Image generation, video generation, we generally go for GA. These are the best applications which where you can use the best algorithm. Okay, so this slide is very helpful for you to pick up in your research, like which one to pick up at particular application. The same is given here, applications of RNN, so how things happen, speech recognition, input will be like this, and output you will be getting like this. For music generation, you will be getting input like this, output in the form of a signal. Okay, sentiment analysis. So how many people have given reviews? How many 3-star review or 4-star rating? What you have given? Okay, so all these are very good applications of RNN. And this small variation where deep neural network versus CNN versus RNN is given. You can see in RNN, you will have a feedback from the output to the hidden layer. Okay, so this goes on until you get a desired accurate result. This you would have already studied maybe in the earlier sessions. In the first week, they would have explained deep learning, where you pass through in deep learning vision, this convolutional network, you pass through convolution layer, your pooling, your classification layer. Okay, where you come across like terms like flattening, softmax, fully connected. Okay, am I audible? Anyone can respond. Am I audible? Any one person can unmute and please tell, am I audible? It is audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, and you will see some of the important promises, some of the important parameters that LSTM is giving is a few important points are there. Like the success of LSTM is mainly like it is the one of the first to implement the technical problems it removed in RNN. Okay, so if you see standard RNNs fail to learn in presence of time lags greater than 5, which was removed in LSTM. Okay, and a recent model LSTM is not affected by this problem. LSTM can learn to bridge minimum timeline in excess of 1,000. So that variation you can see clearly. You have 5 to 10 discrete time lags itself the RNN tried to fail, whereas in LSTM it overcome even 1,000 discrete time steps also. There was no error flow. Okay, yeah. So these are some of the other parameters that I've given. These are some of the applications that I told you earlier, right? So you'll have like handwriting recognition and generation, Okay, this is the latest application. You can even apply for some DST funded projects. Also, you can apply for like suppose you are from Bengal and you want to develop a tool for you have written a handwritten text in a paper on Bengali and you want direct translation to computer generated English. So such type of projects you can apply, you can work on. So those are the real need of the language modeling and translation. A lot of voice-based research is happening. How to detect regional Indian languages. That research is also happening. You have acoustic modeling of speech, speech synthesis, and protein secondary structure prediction. As I told you, biotechnology applications are there. So even some protein synthesis, you can apply LSTM algorithms. And obviously, analysis of audio and video. This everyone knows that a lot of research, continuous research is happening in this. Okay, and bidirectional RNN is another variation where we are generally using nowadays. The basic idea of bidirectional recurrent neural is to present each training sequence forward and backward to two separate neural networks, both of which are connected to same output layer. Okay, so this will have some advantage. This means that for every point in a given sequence, the network has complete sequential information about all points before and after. So even if you are missing something due to the two directions of network that we are having, we will somehow get into the loop and get that missing information and will feed to the output network. Okay, so this is one advantage of having forward and backward networks. Also, since the net is free to use as much or little of this context, there is no need to find a task-dependent time window or target delays. Then another important point is for temporal problems like speech recognition, relying on knowledge feature seems at first sight to violate causality. That is, uh, human listeners, what exactly do is they generally infer only what they are listening and what they are expecting and what we can analyze on what we are actually hearing. So those things are generally are very important parameters which we study in speech processing. So speech processing, bidirectional RNN and LSTM play a very important role. But one shortcoming of a conventional RNN is that they are only able to make use of previous context, whereas bidirectional RNNs do this by processing the data in both directions. So uh, this is one advantage of using bidirectional RNN. And combining bidirectional RNN with LSTM, what do you call it as bidirectional LSTM? As in the beginning, I told you that bidirectional LSTM is also used in the present day research. So how we arrive at this bidirectional LSTM is we combine LSTM approach with bidirectional RNN. Okay, then we get this bidirectional LSTM, and which we can access for long range context in both input directions. Whereas unlike conventional RNNs, unlike conventional recurrent neural networks, bidirectional RNNs utilize both previous and future context, as I told you earlier. And this is a repetition of what I explained earlier. So this you can see. This slide will show you like what exactly is the input, output, and memory, what happens in bidirectional RNN. So you can see the input, a sequence of words, you feed it here, nothing but here also you can see. At each time, at step T, a single token, okay, is input to the RNN black dots. These are each one is a single token that you're feeding, okay, and the red dots are the outputs, orange dots are the memory, okay. So this is how actually a network looks like for a bidirectional RNN. Sequence to sequence LSTM is another variation that you observe. Okay, so this is also sometimes called as encoder decoder LSTM. Okay, so like you would have studied in electronics, encoder and decoder, and encryption and decryption in security, how to study this. Once we give an input, an encoded image is fed it to a hidden layer, and from that hidden layer, it is again decoded by a decoder, and final output, it is given to the output. The same will happen here also in sequence to sequence LSTM. You can see the same thing. See, you can see the idea is to use one LSTM to read the input sequence one time, step at a time, to obtain large fixed dimensional vector representation, and then to use another LSTM to extract the output sequence from that vector. Same, it is the encoder concept here, and this is the decoder concept here. So the second LSTM is nothing but a recurrent neural network language model. Okay, so you can see this is an example. This is just example that you can see for sequence to sequence overview. You are giving an input here, an encoder RNN works here with the hidden layers. Okay, so you will then after starting you will give back to the decoder. What it does, it decodes this input that you are taking here, and after decoding it will give the output. So this is how a sequence to sequence overview works. And same like you have the RNN encoder decoder concept that I told you, that you will better understand once I show this diagram. Yeah, you can see here. This is where an encoder decoder works. Auto encoder, what you are seeing, auto encoder concept, what you are studying. Okay, so remember in deep learning, various advanced algorithms are there. We study CNN, we study RNN, we then generally go for GRU, we learn GAN. We also study LSTM, bidirectional LSTM, and variational autoencoders and autoencoders we also study. There is a difference between variational autoencoder and autoencoder. I will show you that. So you can see this is the image that you are giving as input here. After encoding, you will get that inference here, and using generative algorithms, we decode it. You use various sigmoid functions here, parameters we use here, and we get the reconstructed image here. We will get it here. This is how generally an autoencoder concept, encoder decoder RNN also works. The same, another variation of the same network you can see. You will have, as I told you earlier, the first hidden layer will have the maximum number of neurons. Okay, so see, you will have 784. Next, you will get, next after pre-processing, you will get at the encoder, 500 neurons will be there. The next hidden layer, you will get 300 neurons. And later, after passing through the latent, okay, you are having here now, so latent distribution. So after it passes through, after we apply the sigmoid functions, after we apply the tangent functions, we start decoding it. Again, 300 neurons get decoded here, 500 neurons are getting decoded here, and last reconstruction happens, and we'll get the output here. Okay, so this is how autoencoder, how accuracy improves. The difference between autoencoder and variational autoencoder. You can see variation is there. Okay, so better result you are getting in variational autoencoder. Okay, so it depends upon the type of application that you are using, and depending upon the need, we go for whether we use convolutional autoencoder or variational autoencoder. This is another simple example of like object detection, how we do. Like NVIDIA, we are using NVIDIA, a lot of research is happening. Okay, so how we do object detection using 3D pose estimation using autoencoder. This is an example how it happens. So give me a small breakout. So as you can see here, the input images are given, RGB images are given for the object detection here. Using a Isaac software development kit will be, and the bounding boxes are fed to the 3D pose optimization, and the code generation book will be available here. And you will have the autoencoder training will be doing here. So all the simulation will be happening here using Unity 3D tools. So this is how the research happens. So a more detailed slide which will show you for this autoencoder concept where all the convolution steps are given is this one. A lot of research is done for showing this single slide here. You can see these are the microscopic particles are there in this. You need to identify that single microscopic particle here. Okay, so for doing that, we do all these particular steps here. We go for a convolution. Okay, so then we go for maximum pooling here. Okay, right? And again, we go for apply for convolution and maximum pool. Okay, and this is a fully connected layer that you are having here. Okay, and we reshape it here. I use dropout here. Okay, and again you have to unpull here. After reshaping, you unpull here, and deconvolution you apply here. Okay, so this is how things happen. Okay, so uh, and this is the convolution. To explain this, he has taken here like how convolution deconvolution happens here. What happens in maximum pooling and unpooling. It's an example. Okay, application for like auto inverter. And generally we are using nowadays a lot of research is happening, modern research is happening in NVIDIA. Okay, so NVIDIA Deep Learning Institute is there, wherein a lot of libraries are there, a lot of frameworks are widely used. So what are those popular frameworks that they are using here? You can see MXNet, PyTorch, TensorFlow. Okay, so I will show you all that one by one. You can see PyTorch is a powerful Python package that provides two high-level features. So tensor computation, we will learn PyTorch like NumPy with a strong GPU acceleration. Okay, so like you can see the learning resources are available, documentation is available. I will show you all that website also. So you can run the PyTorch container and you can also see how things work there. Okay, this MXNet is another powerful deep learning framework we use, which is designed for both efficiency and flexibility. So you can see the library is portable and lightweight, and it scales to multiple GPUs and multiple machines. You also have the model deployment here, and learning resources also are available with the documentation in MXNet. Your TensorFlow is another one, like PyTorch. It's open source software library for numerical computation using data flow graphs. Okay, so you study all the GPU, CPU. Okay, so and you will give all the tensor board, tensor flow results, how visualization we are applying TensorFlow visualization tools, everything are available. I'll show you all that. So all the resources, TensorFlow deployment resources. You have MATLAB for machine learning and deep learning also is available. That also I will show you where to study initially. Some videos are there which will give you an understanding. Okay, so Caffe is another very important tool that is developed by Berkeley Vision and Learning Center. Okay, NVIDIA Caffe is also known as NV Caffe. Okay, this is also available. Documentation is available. Your Chainer is another Python-based deep learning framework, which is more flexible. Generally, it supports both CUDA processor and CUDNN also. And Paddle is another important one. Yeah, this also is another important framework that we are studying. And you have some important videos, some important blogs that are there in deep learning. You can process in deep and NVIDIA. And these are some of the resources that I told you. So you can see Scala, Java, Julia, R. These are some other bindings that are also available in NVIDIA. Okay, you can see this is the link which we study Caffe. Here we see MXNet. Here you see PyTorch. Okay, these are some of the other ecosystem that we observe in MXNet. Your Coach RL, your Deep Graph library here, okay, all these are very useful. See, you want for face recognition, face detection, you can use Gluon FR. Okay, so suppose you want to do Keras MXNet, you can use Keras MXNet, which provides a backend support for widely used high-level API. Okay, so all these, each one you can go through one by one. You have also MXNet toolkits are there. So for natural language processing researchers, Gluon NLP provides state-of-art deep learning models. Okay, Gluon TS is a time series toolkit. Okay, so and some other important URLs are there which are explained for deep learning frameworks. I will show you all these. Okay, machine learning, how we do using MATLAB. This is one where we organize data, all applications what we do. Okay, you can do using MATLAB also. And deep learning using MATLAB, same. Like earlier, 2018 2017 version of MATLAB, we don't have deep learning. From 2018 version of MATLAB, you have deep learning also. Okay, so you can do, it simplifies your like efforts. So like just small work, you will get very good outputs because everything is inbuilt in MATLAB. So you get the outputs very quickly with minimum effort from the user. And these are some of the latest research topics that are generally used. Okay, so you can see support vector machines, how to use to classify student attentiveness for development of personalized learning system, and severity detection tool for patients. We can use traffic clustering algorithms. We can use quantum annealing, multi-objective based feature selection. We can use DDoS attack, a light implementation of 3D convolution for gesture recognition. This is another important research happening. Or you can go for like a gain prediction compensation for sub-array antenna for using XGBoost and transfer learning. Study of machine learning techniques for botnet detection. You have volatility in text for bilateral electricity contracting actions is another very generally very good. Chinese researchers are doing a lot of research in this. You have also depth estimation for advancing intelligent transport systems based on self-improving pyramid stereo net. You have also hidden Markov models are used for autonomous vehicles. You have some important links that I've given it here. I will share the PPT to you. You can study a lot of projects are given here. You can work some machine learning, deep learning projects are there. With code, it is available so that you can practice at your own desk. Okay, and I will show you some important links that is of very much interest to you people. You can see this is a TensorFlow tutorial. I hope this is visible to you. I hope this is visible to you. You can see here TensorFlow tutorial starting from TensorFlow introduction. Okay, so installation, understanding AI, understanding some mathematical components. What is machine learning and deep learning? If you want, you can study from the basics. You can study. Okay, you want to do some convolutional neural networks. Okay, so you have coding part also available. See, you can start TensorFlow and you can implement CNN algorithm. Okay, step by step, each with the code is available. You can process easily and you can get the outputs. Okay, so this is for convolutional neural network. You have TensorFlow. Same you have for recurrent neural network. You have TensorFlow for RNN. You have same explanation, and you are also having the code also available for RNN using LSTM. You can do this. You have outputs also here. How to get it. So you have various other basic concepts of XOR implementation, hidden layers concepts also explained. How we do image recognition using TensorFlow. This is also given. So you can work out on the code and you can get the desired output for this. Okay, so like this, I have given some other, like important. 1 minute. Yeah. You can see these are some of the popular deep learning examples that we generally are doing projects. Some 23 projects are there. The source code also is available. So you can see how to detect. Okay, so cats versus dogs. You have the data set and you have complete project available here. Okay, so you have image classification. Okay, so you have the complete project here. You can execute and you can try. And this is a very popular example, human face detection in streaming videos. This also project is, the source code is available, you can try. Okay, and the dogs breed identification. This is another area. Like this, you have see some traffic sign classification, some algorithms. Plenty of breast cancer classification you have here. Music genre classification, you have text summarization, you have here deep learning project. Chatbot, how to implement using deep learning, you have here. Okay, and some advanced deep learning projects you want to do, you can do gender and age detection you have here, and driver drowsiness detection you have here. Okay, so human pose estimation, human activity recognition, we have the complete data set here. You can work on that. Okay, so these are various projects that are there available. I have given that link also in the PPT. And another important one, we have some 47 machine learning projects are there with the source code. You can work on this iris power data set classification. Okay, so emotion recognition. You want to identify. So how an emotion can be identified, detected, that you can see. A lot of examples. We have a digit classification machine learning project. We have stock price prediction. Okay, so all this music genre classification. Okay, so Bitcoin price predictor project you have. Your Uber data analysis project is there. All these with the project complete code, you have credit card fraud detection, sign language recognition. All these you can work on. And along with this, I can show you some other platform like Desire. Here you have time series forecasting using LSTM in Python. You have complete project details here. You can also work on sequence classification with LSTM, RNN. So using Python, you can also see deep learning in Keras. You can see. You have plenty of other applications also. The smartphones data set, human activity recognition, credit census income. So medicine, healthcare application you have. Okay, we have a lot of other stuff. We have explanation. You just have to click it and you have to spend some time for learning this one. Okay. Then you have another important link where you have some top 10 machine learning projects you have here. So see, you can see Walmart data set. You have complete code here. You can work on music recommendation system. Okay, human activity recognition. So handwritten same. So all that you require is just you need to spend some 2 hours to 3 hours of time, then you can work on that. You have another important KD Nuggets a platform where you find a lot of information related to data science and deep learning. So you can see here many data sets are given here with source code you are having. Chatbot implementation you can do. Parkinson disease you can try. Okay, so these are the important applications you can work on. Okay, so all these links are given. And main important thing which I want to show you, another one is Deep Learning Institute. So this is the Deep Learning Institute, NVIDIA, which it is supporting, where you will get all these. You can see various industries that are dealing with NVIDIA. You can see self-driving cars, robotics, research, a lot of products that are there. You can see, and online courses you can go through. So you can see here different concepts in deep learning are there in this online certification. Certification is available. You can learn how to study deep learning basics in computer vision. All these are there in this segmentation. Time series RNN in Keras you have. Deep learning for healthcare you are having here. Okay, all these everything. Deep learning for intelligent video analytics is there. Also, accelerated computer courses are available. Rapids is an advanced data science concept where we generally use. So all these can be learned. These are the partners for NVIDIA and resources you can see here. You can just click and it will open and you can read it, understand. And you have here, these are the important links where we can open each one and we can learn deep learning frameworks. Okay. As I explained you earlier now. So all documentation, as I told you that I will show you the documentation. So PyTorch, you have the PyTorch tutorial, you just click on this. Okay, you will get the tutorial. So step by step, everything will be there. So all complete learning PyTorch, how to apply PyTorch for image, video, audio, everything will be there. All that is required. You need to spend some time on learning. See, everything is there, advanced concepts, from basics to advanced concepts, everything is available here. Okay, and research, how to find research concepts and research projects in NVIDIA. We have this link we will give you, research at NVIDIA. Okay, so see, you can see these are the latest news that are showed. These are the libraries that are using in NVIDIA. It's a very, Kavalin is a PyTorch library, which we accelerate for 3D deep learning research. Okay, and these are the research areas that they are focusing. As you can see, COVID-19 is also available. And you can see, just you open each one, and you can go inside and learn deeper into that. See how to use so COVID-19 research. So how they are identifying. Okay, so what research is happening there? You can see what they have used, what framework they have used. Advanced concepts, all advanced concepts are given here. A lot of tools and resources are given. This is the advanced latest research that you need to recommend to your PhD students also, so that they can see all latest updated information what is happening abroad is given here. If you want your interest is in AI and machine learning, for example. So you can see here featured applications, a lot of applications are there. You can go for all the publications, you can explore. See, all publications are there. You click it, you can open latest publication, what they have worked. Okay, each one, and you can learn a lot of information from this. Okay, so a lot of information is available. Only thing is that we need time to sit and work on this and do advanced research. See, noise to noise, you have your lightweight head post invariant guest tracking, 3D hand force estimation. Suppose if you click this, see, these are the authors they have worked on, and it's published in 2018. So how to do this? So you have the research also. You have the paper is there. You can work on this. Okay, right? So and you know very well how to explore IEEE papers that I am not going to concentrate on. Okay, so that's all from my end. I have shown you how to do projects in deep learning, where to find projects in deep learning, and where to find resources in NVIDIA for deep learning research. All that you need to do is just go for research. There will be a tab called resources. You can go for all these, you'll find, and downloads you have all these. Okay, documentation you have everything. Okay, you have some solutions also available. So all these you need to explore. You have seen in solutions you have deep learning. Okay, you have machine learning, you have recommendation systems, data analytics. A lot of things are there. You just click deep learning. Just click deep learning. See, you will have NVIDIA deep learning. You will have, see, this is AI machine learning deep learning explained. Complete PyTorch, TensorFlow, everything, all details are there. Your deep learning SDKs are there. Everything is there. And see, these are the tools that you can use using NVIDIA deep learning. If you click this, you will get all the deep learning frameworks. Okay, a lot of things are there. You can see. So PyTorch, you have MXNet, you have TensorFlow, you have MATLAB for deep learning. Okay, you have all the tutorials here. NVIDIA Cafe, you have Chainer, you have Paddle, all these things. You just click it and you can go for learning. For example, you want to learn TensorFlow. So deep learning documentation is there. TensorFlow user guide, best practices, getting started guide. So you want to learn how to start. Just click this, you have for beginners how to start. Everything is there. ML basics, you have everything. A to Z you have here. You can learn. Okay. Videos are there. Okay. Complete documentation. TensorFlow, complete documentation is there. Everything A to Z. Okay. So that's all from my end. Sir, over to you. So that's all from my end. So
If participant have any question, please ask the question.
if you want to contact me, you can write to me. Okay, I can share you some research concepts. If you want, if you're interested, I can share you. You can text me at WhatsApp also. This is my WhatsApp number. Okay, so I can share you. I can help you with some advanced research in deep learning.
Participant, if you have any question, please ask the question.
Sir, I am having one question. Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Fatima Inamdar.
Yes,
Actually,
please.
my research is on in deep learning only. So
Okay.
basically, I'm doing some predictive analysis over there. So as per you said, ki MATLAB is more gives you more features rather than any other techniques. So
Can you please speak a little bit louder?
hello, can you hear
Can,
me?
yeah, can you please speak a little bit louder?
Yes, sir. I'm using for my research. I'm using a MATLAB for my research. So right now, I have seen one slide that you have said कि MATLAB is gives you more features, right?
Yes, yes.
Can you elaborate more points on this particular point of view? Ki is MATLAB is really gives me a better way to do the
MXNet, you are saying MXNet or mathematics?
MATLAB.
MATLAB.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. MATLAB, you are doing deep learning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm doing the classification, feature extraction.
Okay.
Seen in
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, you can see here NVIDIA, you are having MATLAB for deep learning. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you can click here, you will get 1 minute. So see, you are having a download for free trial. You can download for free trial. If your friends are having MATLAB 19 with them, please take a copy of that. You can also cracked version also is available. I can share the link of the how to download that also. You can text
Okay.
me and see. These are the things that are given. How to explain more on MATLAB, like why
Okay.
we can use MATLAB. You are having complete like drag and drop environment is there in MATLAB.
Okay. Great.
Complete drag and drop, like whatever network you want, you can just drag it and drop it and connect it, and you can connect and give the input, load the data set, and you can get the output user friendly. So you just explore this, you just
Okay.
explore this link, okay?
Okay.
Then you will
Okay.
understand more better. See, you can see time
Okay.
series and text data analysis is given here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have speech recognition using CNN. This is all in deep. This is all in MATLAB. Okay,
Okay.
this is the app that we have to download. Deep Network Designer app.
Deep network.
This app
Okay.
will give you more information. So
Okay.
take MATLAB 19. 18 also
19.
is enough. MATLAB
Okay.
18 also is good. MATLAB 18 also is available. Okay,
Okay, sir.
MATLAB 19 will be more advantage for you.
Okay.
Anything if you are getting, you please download it and you can process it. It's very user friendly. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
See, this is the advantage of using your MATLAB here. See, you have TensorFlow, Caffe,
Right.
everything inbuilt.
Okay.
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 Yeah, that
Okay.
is the advantage.
That's good,
All
sir.
tools,
Actually.
all if you want to do all these using like Python, you want to
Uh-huh.
do everything coding, it becomes very difficult to you to write
Yes.
code
Yes.
for everything.
Yes. Yes.
But in
Yes.
MATLAB, everything is given inbuilt. So only just like drag and drop clicking, you will get the outputs. That is the
Okay, sir.
advantage. Only thing is
Okay.
that you need to have that software.
Content.
You
Okay.
need to have the software. Software is available. You can play with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's
Yeah.
true, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I will definitely contact you if I'm getting
Sure,
some.
sure. You can write mail to me
Yeah.
or you can contact me on my mobile. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So I
Okay,
will
sir.
help you. I will help you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure, sure.
And its application.
Uh,
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes,
hello,
please.
participant, if you have any question, please ask the question.
Yeah. Sir, I had one query. Can we visualize the internal results or intermediate results? Is there any tool for visualization of internal results for RNN?
Yes, using TensorFlow and Python, you can do it, no? You can do it in TensorFlow in Python. You can break the fragments and internally what happens step by step. Everything you can do it in TensorFlow. You can do it, man. Don't use MATLAB for that, because MATLAB you get direct output only. You use conventional TensorFlow programming or PyTorch. For me, I prefer to suggest you use TensorFlow. In TensorFlow, use your Python programming. Okay, So there you can fragment step by step. You can execute it, and each step you will get the results. So you can compare the results at each step what is happening. Yeah.
For RNN also, no, sir?
Yes, yes. For
RNN or
RNN,
LSTM also.
yeah, for RNN and LSTM also you can do.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Participant in question? Okay, if no question, sir has already shared his number. So if you have any query, you can directly email him. Okay. So yeah, sir, it's my great privilege to propose a vote of thanks. I am session coordinator on behalf of Department of Computer Engineering, Dr. D.Y. Patil, Institute of Technology, Pimpri. Propose a vote of thanks. It was very informative session and very interactive too. I'm getting the feedback from the participant group. So it was.
Hope my session is useful.
Yeah. Definitely, sir. Definitely. It was very informative and useful too. So yeah, the topics you covered, that LSTM architecture and its application, difference between GRU, LSTM, yeah, and DNN versus CNN, all were very informative. So once again, thank you very much, sir, for sparing your time, valuable time for us.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
I will share PPT to Madam, Dr. Chaya Jadhav, Madam. So I think she can share it to you.
Yeah, definitely. You share with ma'am. We will share with all participants on WhatsApp group.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Once again, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Madam.
Yeah.
Madam, I hope Dr.
Thank
Chaya,
you, sir.
Madam, I hope session is useful for
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was very informative, sir.
So
Yes,
can I
sir.
stop sharing?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very
Yes,
much,
sir.
sir, once again.
Thank you.